rest of its newly discovered brethren in the solar system. And then the gas giant planets, that put those together, they have more in common with each other than any one has with any other object. The rocky, smaller planets in the Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, they have more in common with each other than any one of them has with anything else. So we presented the solar system as a collection of families. Well, page 1 story of the New York Times. Pluto not a planet? Only in New York. My phone was ringing off the hook. I was getting hate mail from 3rd graders. And I said, man, people feel strongly about Pluto. And most of the Pluto lovers out there, are there any among you in the audience? Pluto lovers? Raise a hand if you're a Pluto. We got Pluto lovers in the front row. Now, I'll bet you 10 to 1 that this will play out exactly as I know, okay? Pluto lovers, please raise your hand once again. Did you know that there are 6 moons in the solar system bigger than Pluto? Moons. He didn't know that. Earth's moon among them. Didn't know that. That's because the Pluto lovers have elevated Pluto to a greater significance than it actually is. It has grown in your mind and in your soul, but not in the universe. Okay, so Pluto, did you know? Not to mean to be dissing you in the front row here, but I have to get this up. Did you know, sir, did you know that Pluto is more than half ice by volume? Which means if you brought Pluto in, if you let's put it just to, now you don't have to bring it too close, just bring it to like where Earth is. The heat from the sun would evaporate the ice, turn it into gas, and it would make this long plume of a tail. Now, what kind of behavior is that for a planet? We have words for things with tails. We call them comets. Comets cross the orbits of other planets. So does Pluto. Pluto crosses Neptune's orbit. You just add it all up. There's no way out of this. And I think the reason why Americans liked it so much is because we have this other association with Pluto. Pluto, the dog. Europeans don't care. I spoke to Europeans. They said, oh, we don't care whether it's a planet or not. Who cares? Because they don't have this dog legacy, this baggage. Do you know who Pluto is, the creature? Anyone doesn't know? That Pluto is Mickey's dog. Now, I don't know about you, but that's disturbed me for a long time. Something's not right in the mammalian kingdom if Pluto is Mickey's dog and Mickey is not Pluto's mouse. There's something wrong there. A mouse owning a dog. Dogs eat mice, okay? So I want to understand, how is it that a mouse can own a dog? Then I learned that, so I called up Disney, and apparently, this is important stuff you gotta know. So apparently, if you don't wear clothes, you can be owned by another creature who does. That's how you can have animals owning animals, okay? So Pluto runs around butt naked, and Mickey Mouse wears that bow tie. And so that's how you get the social order of the characters. Well, meanwhile, it turns out that Pluto the dog was first sketched the same year that Pluto the object was discovered. So they both have the same tenure in the hearts and minds of the American public. And Pluto the object was discovered by an American. So there's this sort of importance of stuff Americans do getting into the thought equation about how you evaluate who and what Pluto is or should be. So anyway, there's a little bit of that in the vagabonds of this whole. But right now, it was so much. I have a file this wide that this month I'm depositing a manuscript to my publisher called The Pluto Files. This is an exposition of all the hate mail and all the correspondence that I've had with people who are just pissed off about what we did with their favorite planet. Had to get that off my chest. Sorry about that. How am I doing on time here? Man, I got so much I want to do here. The universe is a big... It's like, here, you got 30 minutes, give them the whole universe. It's like, how am I going to do that? Should I tell them about the asteroid that's coming? No, I know. If there's enough time, we'll tell them about the asteroid that's going to hit. Okay. Good. If I forget, remind me about the killer asteroid that's due to come on Friday the 13th in April of 2029. But this only if I forget. Just remind me about that. It's headed for the Pacific Ocean, by the way. But I'll fill you in if we can. That's just the test. I'm going to wait till the very end and see how badly you have to get back to work, all right? It'll be. There's a chapter, excuse me, I'm recovering from it, chest cold. There's a chapter here called Goldilocks and the Three Planets. And this is simple. The idea is simple, but the consequences are profound. If you want to look for life in the universe, beyond Earth, how do you go about it? Well, you have to kind of define life, but you only have an example of one. Biologists celebrate the diversity of life, but behind closed doors, they lament the fact that they only have a sample of one. Because all life on Earth has common DNA lineage. And so, in fact, there is no biodiversity on Earth compared with what the biology would be to a completely alien creature. Then you're talking diversity, okay? So that's just that's that. So now, one of the things we're pretty sure life as we know it requires is liquid water. Carries nutrients around. It's very common ingredients in the universe, hydrogen and oxygen. So, where would you have to put a planet so that it could sustain liquid water in its orbit around a star? You don't want to be too close because the water what? Evaporates. You don't want to be too far away, the water freezes. So it's got to be just right. So that's why it's like the Goldilocks thing, okay? You remember Goldilocks. That story disturbed me too. If I were the bear, I would just eat Goldilocks, you know? Sleeping in your bed, eating your food, you just maul her, all right? But that's not the story that they wrote. But surely that's what would have happened under those conditions. So anyway, so there's Goldilocks. We have a zone around every star for which these conditions hold. We call that the habitable zone. Too many syllables, I know. Forgive us for it, but we couldn't figure out what else to call it. Some call it the green zone, but the habitable zone. For our solar system, Earth is in the habitable zone. It's right there. Of course it's there. We have liquid water on our surface. But how about if you go a little to the left? Go a little closer to the sun. You get what's generally referred to as our sister planet. It's about the same size, about the same density, same mass. It's the planet Venus. A little closer to the sun. What's the temperature on Venus? What's its atmosphere made of? It's got a carbon dioxide atmosphere, 100 times the density of Earth's atmosphere, and it has a roaring greenhouse effect, a runaway green. It is so hot on Venus, it is 900 degrees Fahrenheit. I did the calculation. You could take 16-inch pizza, put it out on the windowsill, and it'll cook in 9 seconds. Now, of course, you would have vaporized along with it, so it's not it's a thought experiment. I'm not inviting you to try that. Something bad happened on Venus. Something bad happened there to its climate. Some knob got turned. Let's look a little to the right. The next planet out from the solar system from us, that would be Mars. Mars has evidence of once having running water on its surface. There are riverbeds that meander. All the visual cues that you see when you fly across country on the airplane and you look down, you see the Mississippi Delta, you see if there's a flood, you see the plane. All of these features are there, yet there's not a single drop of water left. Something bad happened on Mars too. Something changed there. I want to know what that was. Because today we are turning knobs on Earth. Big knobs.